Well, Skinny, let's jump right into it. The Bengals are 2-0, but other than the miraculous comeback, the glaring part of today is Joe Burrow going out with the injury in the second quarter. And it's looking like, I should say, it is turf toe. We know at this point. Just what are your thoughts? What are your takeaways after seeing that play and where the Bengals stand from here?
And disappointing. You could tell he was hurt pretty bad right away. I mean, when he took his helmet off on the field, he's sitting down. And then I think there was a little bit of hope when he got up and stood up for a second. And then when he took that first step and then had to have the medical staff, the training staff help him to the sideline and go to the tent and then go in the locker room, you knew it was pretty bad, whatever it was. Whether it was ankle initially or shin or calf, whatever it was bad. And turf toe is such a weird thing because it almost sounds silly, like you got turf toe, you'll be okay. I mean, Jack Lambert, way before your time, Yanni, but I know you know who Jack Lambert is, the famous Steelers linebacker. Jack Lambert was derailed by turf toe. There was no meaner son of a gun in the game, more tougher son of a gun in the game than Jack Lambert. He dealt with turf toe, and it laid him up. And so, yeah, the disappointing part here is there's not an official timeline. I know the reports are out there now that it's probably ligaments and turf toe, and Zach Taylor really didn't have an update after the game. And even these are accurate, and I believe them to be accurate. The timeline is murky because it's dependent on kind of just your body and when it gets back to right. It could be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, a season. I mean, it could be all of those things. And so I think the unknown is the part that's probably a little frustrating here. But that said, Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. Jake Browning's pretty damn good. I know he threw 3 picks today, but Jake Browning's won games in this league. He's won meaningful games in this league. In 2023, they were in a playoff stretch when Joe broke his wrist, and he went 4-3. Now, his first start against Pittsburgh was awful and ugly, and he looked like a guy who had never played in the NFL. Because guess what? At that point, he had never played in the NFL. But then he played pretty darn well. And even today, through all the interceptions and the one that looked like it was a game sealer, dude leads a 92-yard drive. Did you get a little break? Sure. The pass interference on fourth down really helped, but he led a touchdown drive. And to go 2-0 with the stretch that's coming up, probably a stretch without Joe Burrow, buys you a little leeway of, these next 4 games against, and I'm going reversal. Well, I'll go in direct order. Minnesota, Denver, both on the road, Detroit at home, and then at Green Bay. 1 of 3 could have been possible with Joe Burrow. If you do that with Jake Browning, where he goes 2-2, and you have 3 winnable games at home, and maybe it takes to the bye to get Joe Burrow back. If you're a Bengals fan, you better sign yourself up for that. I think that would be a big thing.
Yeah, and I want to go back, Skinny. You brought up the fourth down bailout with the pass interference. Another big play, the fourth down and 3, start of the drive where he hits Chase Brown on that out route. And that's a play
Beautiful
where
pass.
it looks like an easy play, a running back out of the backfield. There are a lot of quarterbacks in the National Football League that miss that throw. And not only did he put it right on him, he also put it on him in a way that Chase Brown could turn upfield after that and pick up yards after the catch.
A great point. I mean, if you throw it behind him, he probably catches it and lunges for the first down. I think he still would have made it. But to your point, you were able to not just get the first down, but get some more yards on top of it to push you further out of the hole. And it's a fourth down throw that there's also the anxiety of making that fourth down throw. And it was a
Mhm.
great throw. It was a great play. And yeah, I think to your point, that was there's a lot of underrated plays in this game. That was certainly one of them.
Absolutely. And you know what's, I don't think, going to be underrated for much longer if they keep playing like this? The defense, Skinny, because we're now 2 weeks into the season, 2 multi-turnover games, and almost had an extra turnover if you that Cam Taylor Britt dropped
Right.
interception previous to I think that was a couple of plays before they got the fourth down stop ultimately. But they're impressing, I think, everyone in by week as they continue to make big plays.
I think that's how they're going to have to play. I don't think it's a great defense by any stretch. I don't think it's a defense that's going to get a ton of stops against good offenses, but it has to be opportunistic. It has to force turnovers. There wasn't much of a pass rush today outside of Trey Hendrickson. That's a little troublesome. Is it going to lead to Al Golden having to blitz more? I'm interested to talk to Al this week to see, what do you do moving forward to generate more pass rush, because that's going to create other opportunities for teams to maybe make big plays on you. But listen, they were not good today as a unit, but they were opportunistic to your point, and they got two huge red zone stops. Almost, if you remember, the Geno Stone near interception where he dove would have
Mhm.
been another red zone interception. It was ruled incomplete, but they got the interception in the end zone from Dax Hill on just a bad decision from Trevor Lawrence, and then got that fourth down stop at the end when Liam Cohen decided not to kick the field goal. And while listen, this defense is not going to get a lot of stops. It's just not. It's not good enough. It's not talented enough. Doesn't have enough pass rush. But if you can continue to create turnovers and live in that world, and that's a hard world to live in because you're going to look and go, man, they just keep bending and bending and bending. And they broke some today, but this is a good offense. Jacksonville's a really good offense, and you were opportunistic. Give me one way to stop them. If I can't stop them with sheer talent and dudes, give me one that's going to take the ball away from you, and they did that.
Well, speaking on, you brought up not much of a pass rush today outside of Trey Hendrickson. Someone else that got hurt today, Shamar Stewart goes out with an ankle injury. Just what are your thoughts on his injury and how this could affect this defense going forward if we don't have any sort of update on him at this point, I don't believe,
Right.
but if he has to be out for a extended period of time, however long it may be.
Yeah, I don't think you go in the blue medical tent and then right to the locker room if you didn't do something not overly severe, but severe enough to probably miss some games. And I don't have any other info other than just what we saw there. Um, he's been disruptive at times. He doesn't have a lot of stats to show for it, which is kind of his MO. But now you're down a guy who was a big rotational piece. And I think they did want to, I think they want to rotate a lot of these guys. So now here's what it does. Miles Murphy is AWOL, man. He doesn't show up. Joseph Osai's been okay. So then you were trying to get some snaps off of Trey Hendrickson to go, all right, let's get you fresh in the fourth quarter. It's not let you play 93% of the snaps, and they probably still won't. There's probably still going to be a rotation, but that means you're taking your best player off the field at times to put a lesser player in. I think it's significant because I do think Shamar was trending in the right direction. And for him to miss that time on a team that isn't all that deep at that position, I mean, you think they would be. I mean, one guy's a first round pick from 2 years ago and he can't get anything done. He needs to start playing like a man. I mean, it's been ridiculous.
All right, now let's turn over. We're going to talk about this much more throughout the week, of course, but let's look ahead to Minnesota. Now that we have the turf toe diagnosis, it's safe to assume that Joe Burrow is not going to be suiting up next Sunday. So it's going to be Jake Browning in Minnesota against a Minnesota offense that, even though they had that big comeback last week, they don't look great. So a rookie quarterback, let's call it at this point, still in JJ McCarthy, feels like this Bengals defense. I know they have the Justin Jeffersons and they brought Adam Thielen back, but feels like this defense should be able to make some plays on that one and should be maybe not as exciting as a game as we thought it was going to be when it was Burrow and Chase and Jefferson, but feels like this is a winnable game for Cincinnati and could to move to 3-0.
Well, I think you were in the market 2 years ago. If you weren't, maybe you remember the game. Time flies for me, but
I wasn't
that was
here,
a
but I was. I remember watching that game on TV. That was
Yeah, I mean the great T. Higgins play where he wraps the ball
mhm.
around the pylon is one of the great plays I've ever seen. And guess who started at quarterback that day for the Bengals? It was Jake Browning.
Yep.
And Jake was a Minnesota Viking for a while and was on their practice squad and didn't take any snaps. And then the Bengals signed him. And so I mean sometimes storylines just fall into everybody's lap. And here's the one for him. He gets to go back to Minnesota after beating Minnesota 2 years ago. And yeah, I just wonder again in that game if Al Golden doesn't decide to say, you know what, I'm going to make the rookie quarterback, and he's not a rookie, but to our point, he didn't play last year because he got hurt. Make quick decisions. And yeah, I know Justin Jefferson's there, and he can turn a 6-yard hitch into a 70-yard go route or a 70-yard touchdown. He can beat us one-on-one, but there's no Jordan Addison. There's really not a great secondary receiver. Adam Thielen was signed, I think, really out of almost necessity.
Mhm.
So I'd like to see this needs to be a game the defense wins the game for you. Not 10-7, 13-10, but keep them somewhere in the below the 20-point zone. And I have faith Jake Browning gets you over 20 and could steal this win.
Absolutely. Well, the Bengals are 2-0, first time since 2018, but through two wins, Skinny, we had the worries about what we saw in week one. Now we have the worries about Joe Burrow's injury. It doesn't seem like a satisfying 2-0, and it feels selfish to say that, Skinny, because the Bengals aren't used to being 2-0, but that's just how it feels right now.
Yeah, no, but I talked to Logan Wilson. And he's like, man, I've never been 2-0. And he said, I told you guys in the locker room, I mean, hey, it's not been pretty. It's not been the way you want it aesthetically. He goes, that's this league, man. He goes, just be satisfied with the wins. Know how you got to make your corrections. And he said, I'll be more than happy to make corrections and fix things with, watching wins on tape rather than going, how are we digging out of this hole? And that's what they've had to do. And so they get to play with a little house money here going into a tough stretch of games. And honestly, Yanni, at 1-1, if they'd have lost this game, they'd come in with the stretch. And again, going 1-3 in the stretch, I don't think would be awful. I'm not sure Joe Burrow doesn't go 1-3 in the stretch if he's playing. Probably not, but he could have. Then you're 2-4. Now you're still 3-3 at worst if you do that. And that's where, again, never apologize for this stuff. Just take it and see how the season unfolds.
That's a great way to look at it. I got to take notes from Logan Wilson. Got to just go to him with all of my life's issues and questions, and he'll give me a brighter way to look at things.
For
All right,
sure.
that'll do it.
He's a
Yeah.
happy guy, man.
Yep. All right, that'll do it. Bengals 2-0. That's the recap of their week 2 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars.